Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Anfal, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. The rough translation of this verse is, and as for those who disbelieve, some of them are guardians and helpers and protectors of one another. And if you, those who believe, do not do the same, there will be a lot of fitna and fasad in the land. After that verse, I would like to welcome all of you to our next session. The topic of this session is Building an Islamic American Movement, Why and How. Inshallah, in this session we'll talk about the concept of movement. There are a lot of people who have many misnomers about Islamic movement or movement in itself. Is it a new phenomenon? The name is new. Was it at the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ or no? In this session, inshallah, we aim to address all of those questions, explain you how the movement is started during the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, dating back to the first Muslim community in Madinah, and then how we can utilize the movement now today in North America and help our situation, inshallah. To discuss this important topic, we have three esteemed guests here. Brother Hisham Abdallah, Sheikh Hisham Abdallah, Brother Abdul Sattar Ahmed, and our Sheikh Mohamad Nasir. Sheikh Hisham Abdallah will talk about the dynamic nature of Islam, the difference between a movement and an organization, why do we need to establish a movement for serving Islam. And finally, he will touch upon the topic of how there was a concept of movement during the time of Prophet ﷺ during the Madinah period. Then Brother Abdul Sattar will talk about the characteristics of the leaders and the followers of Islamic movement, benefits a movement can gain from the history and the dynamic of the American reality. And in the end, our esteemed brother Sheikh Mohamad Nasir will talk about the Muslim Action Day. Before we start the lectures, I just wanted to give a couple of pointers for you. As the speakers are talking, there will be volunteers walking throughout the lanes with the cards and pens. If you have any questions, please write down those questions and send them up. Since we don't have much time, we will try to get the answers for your questions as soon as the next speaker is done. So when Sheikh Hisham is done, during his speech, write down your questions and send it to us. And while Brother Abdul Sattar is talking, we'll try to organize those questions and get them answered for you later on. And same thing for the rest of the speakers. Secondly, right after this session would be time for Salatul Maghrib and Isha for the travelers. The Salah for both brothers and sisters would be on the same floor this time. And brothers would be right here where we're praying, right in front of the bazaar. Sisters area would be towards the right side where the young youth program is. Without delaying any further, I would like to introduce our speakers now. Dr. Hisham Abdallah is the head of clinical pharmacology research at a major pharmaceutical company, specializing in the inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. I've already talked to him about getting some of those for myself. He also holds degrees in Sharia and organizational management. Dr. Abdullah came to US from Egypt in 1984. He has been a dynamic Islamic worker in his communities wherever he is all over on the national scene. And he has taught many different classes in fiqh and usul, as well as classes in personal development from an Islamic perspective. Dr. Abdullah currently serves on the board of the trustees of MAS, and he lives in Wayne, New Jersey, with his wife Iman and their children. The next speaker would be Brother Abdul Sattar. Abdul Sattar is an Islamic studies student, and by profession he's an IT person. He graduated from University of Illinois at Chicago with double major in finance and management information system, While at the University of Illinois, he served on the Muslim Student Association Board for 2 years, and also he served in the board, Young Muslims National Board. Currently, Abdul Sattar is heavily involved in a local Tarbiyah organization called Islamic Learning Foundation, and he's heading the Arabic curriculum committee for them. And lastly, but not the least, our esteemed brother Mohamad Nasir. He is the current and previous Executive Director of Council of Islamic Organization of Greater Chicago, CIOGC. His background is in executive management, sales, and marketing. He served as the Vice President for Islamic Community Center of Illinois, as well as the Chairman of the ICC Academy Board of Education. He also served as a representative to Park Ridge School District and the Vice Chair of Public Relations for the Mount Prospect Toastmasters. With that out of the way, inshallah, I will invite Sheikh Hisham Abdallah to talk about the dynamic nature of Islam and Islamic movement.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, brother, and thank you all for coming, and again, thank the organizer for this opportunity to be with you here. Trying to do my best, inshallah, with time to cover such a topic of importance and also a lot of depth that is needed. We'll try, inshallah. I'll try my best. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man ittaba'a hudah ila yawm ad-din. Allahumma ij'alna minhum wa ma'ahum bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Brothers and sisters, the message of Islam when it comes to interacting with the community is very simple. And it largely consists of two aspects. And inshallah, I'd like you to remember these two. The first one is da'wah. When you call people to Islam, present it to them. And the second one is islah, or making things better, or doing reform. Islah literally it means to try to fix things, make them better. So da'wah aims at conveying Islam with utmost clarity to both Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And we get that from so many of the references in the Quran, as well as from the whole life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the prophets that came before him, and the Sahaba and the Tabi'een and the followers after him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In Surah Yusuf, in ayah number 109, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل هذه سبيلي, addressing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly at the end of the surah. قل هذه سبيلي, say this is my way. أدعو إلى الله, I call upon people to the path of Allah. أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني, on clear evidence, on clear understanding, very clear, everything is clear. Basira. Ana wa man ittaba'ani. It's not only the job of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it's the job of everyone who follows him. Anyone who believes in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is addressed and mandated according to this ayah and many others to make da'wah into the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and may Allah be glorified, and I am not one who associate partners with him. So that's the first part. The second, which is islah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story of Sayyidina Shu'aib, and also it's the same story for all of the prophets before and after him, ending with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إِنْ أُرِيدُ إِلَّا الْإِصْلَاحَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُ وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ. I only desire to do reform, or to do islah. And I think this is one I like to use English and try to translate the English terms. But these terms, islah and da'wah and amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar, they're Arabic terms that anyone, regardless of their language, should have in their vocabulary, so that they understand the depth of the meaning and not just an attempt to translate. So islah is try to do everything better, from the level of the individual to the community, to the whole society, and to humanity at large, and extend that, of course, to the environment, to the whole universe. This is the responsibility, because the human being is put in charge of this